All right. Hi, hello, good morning, good evening. How are you? Welcome back. Today, I'm going to go over another crochet kit. This one is from Redheart. It is for Popcorn the Bunny. He's pretty cute. I already have feelings. He's got a little bit of gaps, which I'm curious about. But starting with the front, it tells you what you got. Polyester stuffing, it better. Yarn, it better. Stitch marker, which is actually pretty neat. I haven't seen any of the other kits do stitch markers. I think Woobles does too, but we'll get to that one eventually. I like that it includes a stitch marker. Threads, I assume that's for his little details. Because he doesn't have safety eyes, he's just got little sewn in ones, which I like safety eyes myself better, but that does, cut down, I think, on the cost of the kit. Safety eyes can get expensive pretty fast. Crochet hook, good. Yarn needle, nice pattern, dope. The back is clear. I like that it's clear so you can kind of see already, like, this yarn is a cotton yarn. It's a little rough looking, which is just how cotton yarn tends to be. I like that the crochet hook is actually one with grip. This looks similar to, I think, Clover ones. This is my most used one. I might be biased toward this one, but we'll see. All right, let's open him up. It's interesting to me that it's a resealable packet. I guess if you get started and don't finish. So here's our yarn. Cute, classic, little bullet skein. The crochet hook. 3mm, so it's actually smaller than the one I usually use. The grip on it is a little bit hard. Still looks like it's lined up well. Doesn't bend. Pretty good quality ergonomic hook. Alright, so there's our little tiny bit of thread for his eyes. The sewing needle, which is a slightly blunted end. The stitch marker, which are my favorite kind, personally. And then we'll keep that in its separate little baggie. I like these ones because they're easy to use and locking. And here's our little packet of stuffing. This is just the front piece, and here's our actual instructions. All right, already we got, again, the materials, which is all that should be included. The abbreviations, which look pretty classic. Notes about how it's made, and then it starts right into the head and body. It does show you how to make a magic ring. I'm not going to be the best one to say if these are good instructions or not, because I've been doing a magic ring, and I'm one of those people that can pull it really tight and not have it break. So, but I like that it shows you all the pieces laid out. And then the back, this looks like French. I think that's French. All right. So bullet skeins are ones that have more of a, it's not going to show up very well because it's white, but they have a different sort of wrapping technique. So you can't necessarily center pull from them very easy. But I wouldn't expect too much different with this size. It is recycled cotton, which is pretty nice, instead of just non-recycled cotton. Cotton is very resource intensive. So we're not going to do a center pull. We're just going to get started. Now, obviously, I'm not going to just straight give you the instructions. That's Redheart stuff. I'm just going to make and then review how this goes, which so far I'm a fan of just because of the materials they give you are higher quality ones that will last you if you make more. The yarn being cotton does tend to split, which means despite being one yarn, you can pull it into its individual fibers pretty easy, which isn't the best for beginners. But it's not the worst either, because it does try to stay together and it's not particularly fluffy, so you can see the anatomy of the stitch pretty well with cotton. I did notice under the materials listed for the bunny, in the kit they give you a 3mm hook, which is still smaller than the class that I took. The class I took gave me, I think, a 4 or 4.5. But in the instructions it says to use a size B or 2.5mm, which is interesting that differs. And then, yeah, on the yarn label itself, it recommends 2.5mm hook. That's pretty small. It'd be doable, but I don't know if I'd recommend that for beginners. Again, it's a lot smaller, harder to manipulate, harder to see your stitches. So there's an interesting discrepancy. Something that doing these beginner kits has shown me is that they all say put the marker at the end of the round, the last stitch. I always mark the first one. I didn't notice that was something I was doing that was different until I started, making and reviewing these kits. So it's an interesting thing to learn about myself and how I do things. Okay. I am struggling so that the yarn doesn't split. Not even regular acrylic yarn splits this much. This is definitely a cotton yarn problem. And yeah, it's not like my hook is rough, because sometimes if the tip of the hook is rough, it'll snag on the yarn easier. That's not the case for this one. It's just that the yarn is not tangled within itself. So as you crochet, especially if you have tight stitches, it's just separating unless you're super mindful about it. All right, let me continue on. Okay, so I am just about finished with the head and body. Here are my thoughts at this point. Using cotton yarn for this is kind of bonkers because of how much it separates. It's really annoying and difficult. The stuffing is very soft and fluffy, but it's so bizarre. I've never seen stuffing that looks like this. It's in little tiny little beans. Usually it's just one kind of mass. This is little beans, which is very interesting. The other thing I noticed that I wanted to mention is as I look ahead, it just says for finishing, cut the yarn, pull the remaining stitches together, fasten off. And there's no additional information here about what that means, and I feel like that's a little silly. However, there's no direct instructions for each of the stitches, so I definitely feel like these Redheart kits are for not brand new beginners, but like you know the basics and now you're trying to make something new and maybe you don't want to buy a pattern and the yarn and stuff yourself and you just want it in one bundle. That would be that would be what this is for. You know what you're doing. You just want everything all in the one little bag. Which it seems pretty perfect for that. I assume the instructions are going to be relatively similar for all of the parts, ears, hands, and whatnot. So I'm going to make those. And I'll be back to sew it together. And we'll see what extras we have and give some final thoughts as we do that. All right, I am back. I've sewn together our little bunny. The rest of the pattern is pretty well worded, pretty nice. The sewing instructions are pretty much look at the picture and sew them on, which is classic. I did want to bring out, this is the stuffing that I have that's just the general polyfill, you buy it in a bag stuff, compared to the stuffing that came with Redheart. This is what I mean when I was saying that it's weird that it's in these little balls. This is just fluff. But this is how much white string I have left. That's actually a pretty good amount, so even if you have looser stitches, you're not going to run out of yarn to make this, which is great. I haven't sewn his face on yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Overall, this isn't a bad kit. I really like the tools that were included. They're all pretty high quality, pretty easy to use. Generally just pretty nice. Let's see what else. The materials. The yarn does split, which is very annoying. And I don't feel like that's necessarily a terrible thing, especially since it is recycled cotton. However, if you are somebody who's beginning, that might be a huge annoyance. Cause you to give up faster or just struggle a lot. Just giving him a weird little face here, I guess. There's also a good amount of stuffing left. I didn't stuff him super tough. So you could stuff him even more if you like more of the firm fleshies, which is nice. The other thing about the yarn was that by being cotton, it does give you a good like stitch definition, so you can see the stitches that you're doing pretty well. A little silly expression. I do feel like the black thread for embroidering is a little bit small, but I like to have, you know, more than enough when it comes to that. I don't know what expression that is, but I love it. So overall, not bad. I just wouldn't say this is for super new picking up crochet for the first time beginners. I would recommend if you're going to get this Redheart, any of the Redheart amigurumi kits like this, from your inspirations. Oh, their patterns are awesome. But again, the pattern is fine. But I would recommend to know at least the basics already, and maybe just want a kit that's all included rather than truly have no basics going in. And by basics, this pattern, and it looked like the other ones too, the frog, I think there was a llama. It looked like for the most part they were all single crochet, increase and decreases. That's kind of it. So like beginner plus one. But thanks for sticking around to make this little bunny. Oh my god, he looks like he's gonna hit on you. That's so funny. I love his little face. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've ever made one of these kits, what you think. And stick around for the next one. And future patterns, and I will be doing beginner series. I just keep forgetting to start that. So, it's coming. In the meantime, have a good day. Bye!